You got a floating ball there that was put there by somebody. Well, then your next question is going to be, well, who put it there? And why is it still there? Why is it hovering? Is it the same person?
Do you know what you look like before I continue, AJ? Yeah. You look like a character out of Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, is that something you did on purpose?
You mean like?
Is that something you did on purpose?
Yes.
Let me see. Now you look. Is that you?
That's me.
No.
I do it as a children's kids entertainer, dressed up as Jack Sparrow.
Oh my God. Okay, now I understand the background.
God didn't do it.
Yes. We'll come to that. Don't worry about it. The God question. That's something else. It's really an interesting conglomerate of different faces. And look, how many tattoos you got there?
That's not relevant to the question.
I know, but I'm more
interested
in theology. Okay, fine. No.
How do you know I don't know?
No, I'm joking. No, of course. I like they're interesting pictures and stuff.
I'm more interested in why.
Okay, that's cool. No problem.
So you're gonna. We discovered somebody has made that ball, but has that same somebody made that ball hover? And are they still making it hover?
I'm really happy with that question. So, AJ, you really do have a good understanding of these things. Let me tell you something. Now we are walking in a desert, in Speaker's Corner, wherever you want, whatever setting you want. You see the hovering ball. We have two models, the atheistic model, the theistic model. The atheistic model, the ball came from nothing. The ball was there, created itself. The ball created itself. The ball, there was an infinite amount of balls, and that's just one of them. Yeah? Or whatever. We said that doesn't make sense. There's no proof of these things.
I'm just not believing that there's not a God.
That's what they want you to believe, my friend. Believing that there's not a God has consequences.
There's no church of atheism. There are no rule books.
Yeah, no, hold on. Let me tell you something. This is what they want you to say. They want you to believe. I say they, because I believe that there is now, in the Western European landscape, right, there is a new atheism. There is a new atheism, yes.
If they know that God exists, the people that don't want us to think that God exists, and they know there will be punishments for not following God, why would they not also follow God, knowing that they will face the hellfire?
No, I'm not saying that they know that there's a hellfire, they believe in it.
So they do not know.
What I'm saying is that
these guys... why would they suppress?
I don't know their intentions, but what I'm saying is... What I'm trying to say... Yeah. What I'm just saying is that there is a disconnect between what is academically the case, from an academia perspective, and that which we hear on the, from Christopher Hitchens or Richard Dawkins.
I do.
Christopher Hitchens and Richard Dawkins will tell you that which sounds great, but when you start examining it properly, so hold on, there are real problems with these theses, yeah? So, as you say correctly, atheism technically is a lack of belief in God, yeah?
I want to go with what you're saying.
But there are consequences of that, and that's what we need to examine, yeah.
Where's the punchline here?
The punchline is as simple as follows. We gave you two analogies, yeah? One analogy was talking about you're on a plane. You wake up, you wake up at home, you wake up, then you ask yourself, what do you ask yourself? You've just woken up in a plane, you don't know what's going on. What am I doing here? Why am I here? How did I get here? All these questions. These questions are natural, intuitive questions. You see a ball hovering in the middle of nowhere. Would you say what Bertrand Russell said? One of the atheistic philosophers, the universe just is. Are you going to go around and say the ball just is? You're not going to say that. The ball hovering, you're going to say we have the atheistic and we have the theistic narrative. Atheistic narrative, the ball came from nowhere. There's an infinite amount of balls, and that's just one of them. Or the universe, or the ball created itself. That doesn't make sense. Therefore, we say there was a creator to the ball. Now the question we're at is, why is the ball here? Why are we here? What is our connection with the ball? What are we doing here? Since you've already assessed and understood that it does make sense to say that the ball was created, the answer links to the creator. We have to be at one with the ball in the same way as God, or the creator here, wants us to be. So the answer is this. The creator of the ball, which set it purpose and fixed purpose for it, is the same creator that set us purpose and fixed purpose for us. And the purpose of the ball is the same purpose as the human being. which is to obey the laws of God, or the Creator in this case. Yeah, if you don't use the word God, you don't have to. Right, the Creator. So you have to obey the laws of the Creator. How do we get to know of the laws of the Creator? We get to know through what we would say intermediaries. The medium that we say, the narrative, the Islamic narrative is, the medium that God chose are basically prophets and messengers, which have come before time. Jesus, Abraham, Moses.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah, sorry, him first, yeah.
If you say that these questions are intrinsic to being human, right? These questions are,
Yeah, you said that as well.
yeah, why would a belief in God not be intrinsic? If he had made us, why would that not just be included?
So we would say, actually, we'd argue that it is intrinsic, and there is evidence of that.
But it's not to me, that's my point.
Yeah, because you've been socialized into being an atheist, basically. And look,
Religious, so
yeah, well, you're religious.
I was brought up religious.
Okay, so you were socialized first into religiosity, and then socialized again into irreligiosity.
No, because let me if I can tell you, at a young age, talking with friends when I was made to go to church, I would say, this doesn't make any sense to me. This is not true. I don't believe
When you
it.
say this, what are you talking about? The idea that one God exists, or the Trinity? Be honest.
The Protestant explanation of how the
Okay,
universe
fine.
came into being.
I would agree with that. Then you had a point as a boy. Yeah, that's something else. We're not talking about
It was only
that.
later in life that I realized there were other atheists.
Fine.
When,
What
well,
you said when you were a boy was a logical thing to say. I agree with that thing. But you weren't criticizing the God thesis. You were criticizing the biblical narrative. And there's a distinction between those two things. Yeah.
If there's a creator that created all this world and
Yeah.
wants me to live in the way of the world, why can't I just walk around the world and look at it, appreciate it, and say thank you, creator? And that's
I
it.
think
why
that-
is there
yeah.
rules?
Well, I'll tell you
Why
what.
do they put rules on me?
That's good.
You don't put rules on trees.
He did. And these are called the laws of nature.
Yeah, so
Look, the
I
difference-
behave within the laws of nature.
Let me tell you
and
something.
I'm doing what the creator
I like what you're saying, and the thanks element is really good. That's why in the Quran, just to let you know, I know that I said we weren't going to quote too much.
I'm interested to hear.
Yeah, in the Quran, the first line of the Quran is Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, which means praise and thanks be to God, Lord of the worlds. In other words, being grateful and being thankful to the Creator is at the center of the Islamic ethos. But the way which we do that is in accordance with the law. Now, how do we know the law? The difference between us, this is a major thing. The difference between us and the rest of the animal kingdom. Do you know what the difference is? The difference is that we are able to ask those questions that we were asking before. Why, what, where, how. Properly ask those questions, inquisitively ask those questions. I can ask, why am I here? How did I get here? Where am I going? A zebra or a lion is only concerned with survival. A dog is only concerned with survival. They're not going to ask those deep questions. As far as we know, right? No, but we know that, right? Human beings are concerned with more than that, which is why we've built civilizations. Now, here when we ask, what am I doing here? Why am I here? How did I get here? And we get answers now, because we've gotten some answers. We've gotten some answers. Our Creator created us, put us here, all these things. He set a purpose for us. Now the question is, what is the purpose? The purpose is as follows. The reason why we're here on this earth is so we can be, and this is going to sound cliche, one with nature. How so? We do that which nature is doing. Wait a minute. What's nature doing, my friend? What are you talking about? Make it clear for us. Okay. The only possible relationship that nature can have with the Creator is one of submission to the laws of Creator. Why? Because any part of the creation can't turn around and say, I'm not going to do this. It can't do that. It has no autonomous power and will above and beyond the power and will of the Creator that originally put it in place. Therefore, the answer to life's question is as follows. You must be submitting to basically the Creator's will. How so? We said we have mediums and intermediaries that basically communicate that message to human beings. But they don't come just like that. They come with two things.
You're the guy on the plane when we wake up who's like, hey,
I'm the guy on the plane. But there was someone who told me. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you, look, why is it the case that we have all these people coming in history and claiming to receive revelation? Is it a completely null hypothesis that this actually occurred as a reality, a metaphysical reality? We say no. We say there is some truth in it. Jesus was a true character historically. Abraham, Moses, all of these human beings actually existed, we would say, yeah? And they came with a message. What was that message? To submit to the laws of God. We say that long line of messages ended with the messenger of Muhammad. I know you. Alright, do you get it?
Just point out.
Yes.
All of these intermediate, what did you call them? Intermediates?
Yes.
Prophets. How do we know they are actually speaking to the Creator?
So they come with two things. I like that. Excellent. So they come with two things. They come with a message and they come with evidence. And the evidence is meant to substantiate the message. Now go back to our.
When you say evidence.
Yes.
When you say evidence,
go back to our example. Yeah.
I could sit here and I could say.
Yeah.
The divine Creator has just told me. You lot can't hear it because you lot are not prophets. I'm a prophet. He just told me. He just told me everything I say is right.
Yeah.
Are you going to believe me?
If you give me evidence.
What kind of evidence?
Let me tell you. Let's go back to our let's go back to our ship or train example. You wake up on a ship, yeah? What we're doing here on the ship. Why are we here? What are we doing? How did we get here? Where are we going? These questions that we ask. Someone comes up, you wake up, someone's next to you, because you want to know how the hell you got on the ship or on the plane. Yep. You wake up, you usually wake up in your bed. Now you're waking up on a ship. Yep. How did I get here? Someone next to you says, listen man, don't worry about it man. You were involved in a brawl, you got knocked out, okay? And now we're helping you get from place to place. I'm here to chaperone you. So what happened? And then he starts giving you some information. He brings out, he said, look, there's a police crime reference number here. There's this evidence, there's that evidence, you were here, you were there, all these things. Say, look, this guy seems like he's speaking the truth, yeah? So you do something called inference to the best explanation. You say, yeah, this guy is probably telling the truth based on the circumstances and the evidence he has. You could decide to say, you know what, get out of here, my friend, yeah? I don't want your evidence, get out of here. But you know deep down that this guy's probably speaking the truth, yeah?
This guy's given me
yes.
a video recording
yeah.
of me doing whatever
yeah, right.
I can't remember doing.
So I'm saying to you now, if you get the evidence, what will be your reaction?
If he shows me a video of me doing what I can't remember,
you'll accept it, right?
I'd say yes.
Or even not, let's not say a video. Let's say he tells you a few facts. This, X, Y, Z. I was there to see it. And then he starts showing you police reference number. You can call the police. These kinds of circumstantial evidences.
That to me isn't good enough evidence.
So okay, you're gonna say, well, get out of here then.
Yeah, I'd say I need more proof than
so
that.
He gives you another evidence, but he says, look, but hold on, you were here at this time, you were there at this time. He starts telling you where you were, and you know you. But hold on, you know where you were. You know, okay, you know where you were. You know this guy couldn't have known where you were, because people don't know, i.e., knowledge of the future or knowledge of events like that.
I mean, this girl comes around with me all the time. So maybe you spoke to her and you found out.
No, but look, he's saying that, look, we saw you in this place, and this place, and that place, and this place. You know for a fact, it's because of the location it was. Let's say it was your house or someone else's house.
Yeah.
That there's no one that could have known that except for someone who has experienced that situation.
Okay.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
You'd accept the evidence? No.
With hesitation.
Fine.
Ask him what evidence would he accept.
No, this is good.
He said video.
No, but person could not have known X information piece, and he told you about it.
That would certainly get my attention.
So, for example, if it's a very small knit of group of people that go to a certain place on a certain day, no one could know that except for those people, and he tells you about that. So you're gonna say, okay, I don't. How did you know about that? All right, did you get it?
It would get my attention.
It will get your attention. Okay. Because you'd agree that people don't know knowledge of the future, for example. They don't know knowledge of different events that could happen like this, right? Okay. So if I told you now, the evidence in the Quran, a lot of it is prophecy. Evidence talking about the future. It's the same exact standard that you've talked about, your exact standard. For example, in chapter 30, verse 1 to 6, it talks about the future, where it's mentioned that in the future, the Roman Empire would beat the Persian Empire in 3 to 9 years in a nearby land. we agreed that evidence of the future or information of the future is not something easily retrievable.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, you might say that's a coincidence. But what if the same source of revelation then says, look, hold on, Islam will spread, and starts telling you different places where it will spread. Egypt, Yemen, Syria, Jordan. Now hold on, this is knowledge of the future, which is...
I'm going to bring you back to this exact point. Say, Islam's going to spread. I can make that prediction. I can make a prediction that, as Islam spreads, it's going to cause a lot of upheaval and a lot of trouble.
But no, that's fine. But we're talking about different countries.
But then it's going to pattern out and everything's going to be all right. I can make that prediction.
Okay, good.
Does that mean I'm a
But what I'm saying is,
does that mean I'm
those... No, hold on.
make that prediction?
Let's start with the first prediction I told you about. It's a prediction. If you know about the Persian Sassanid, the Sassanid Roman Wars, anyone who knows anything about kind of what was going on between those two empires, this is the Holy Roman Empire. At this particular time, we know that Rome was on the way out. Yeah? It's the 7th century Arabia time. Yeah? So at that time, Rome was weak. For you to make a prediction that a weakened empire is going to defeat a strong empire in the exact time and place that is going to do it in, that's not an easy prediction. Yeah, to get it. So with that, we're saying it's not just any trend that we're talking about. Anyone can make a trend. I'm talking about specific pieces of information of the future. So I've given you one example, but there are plenty examples like this. Okay? We can have a discussion on that. Now, just in the same way as if you're on the ship and you accept the evidence then. Do you accept the evidence now?
There's not been evidence. A prediction is evidence.
But you said before, well, think about this. You said before you would accept evidence of someone knowing something they couldn't have otherwise known.
It's not so much accept, it's more... You'd have my attention. It was my answer. You'd have my intention.
Yeah.
So after you give me what you're claiming to be evidence...
If that person on the ship or on the plane or whatever on the train starts giving you more and more of that information.
If you could answer every single question that I had to ask without fault, completely without fault, I'd have to say, I believe you.
Okay, fine. So I think of all of your companions, you're the most sincere one. I'm not to put anyone down. And that maybe I shouldn't have said it like that, but the reason why is because you are inquiring,
Yeah. But to me, this is what this is all about.
Well,
This is... We were talking, weren't we? We said, this is what this is all about. It's me to find out what you're thinking, to make sure, if I got something wrong with what I'm thinking, it gets correct. And the same, if I'm thinking something correct and you're not.
So as I was saying to you, the main thing to note here is the follows. That when it's one piece of evidence, now look, in chapter 24 of the Quran, it's mentioned that the Arabian Peninsula will be overtaken by the Muslims. Now this seems something minor, right? But this is actually something really, really interesting. First and foremost, the Muslim side is a group of like 30 or 40 different people. Now you have to, one Western scholar put it this way. The equivalent of suggesting that Muslims will basically inhabit the surrounding empires is like saying the Eskimos will overtake America and Russia. It's basically like saying that. Right. So here we're saying, not only is it the case that the Quran makes very specific predictions, by the way, in chapter 48, it talks about how they will conquer. It says, مُحَلَّقِينَ رُؤُوسُهُمْ وَمُقَصِّرِينَ لَا يَخَافُونَ, that they will cut their hair, that they will trim their hair, i.e. going for a pilgrimage. They're not going to have any fear, meaning there won't be any fighting going on. There wasn't any fighting at the conquest of Mecca. There was not any fighting at the conquest of Mecca. So the kind of predictions we're talking about here are not just one or two isolated examples. And there's never been, and this is a challenge, there's never been an example of prediction that either the Quran has made or the Prophet has made. And obviously he gets his information from God that has not actualized. In other words, he never said this will happen at this time and it never happened. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what he's saying, yeah.
So from that perspective, what I'm saying to you is as follows. Straightforwardly, I'm just saying, when you look at these things, he said that Yemen will become a Muslim inhabited place. He said that Jordan would be, Syria would be, Egypt would be, India would be, and Muslims would come into it. Pakistan or Sindh would be as well, which is present-day Pakistan. All of these countries, there are basically narrations of the Prophet where he says, "Zuwaya li al-ard," that the whole earth has projected in front of me. فَرَأَيْتُ مَشَارِقَهَا وَمَغَارِبَهَا. I saw the eastern parts of it and the western parts of it. وَإِنَّ أُمَّتِي سَيَبْلُغُ مُلْكَهَا مَا زُوِيَ لِي مِنْهَا. And that my people would basically take over this area from what I saw. Why did he not say north and west?
See, that is where I have a problem with religion now. It's Islam. They're Allah's people, yes? But didn't Allah create me?
Yeah.
So am I not his people?
Yeah, he created you, yeah, of course.
But I'm his people, aren't I?
In that sense,
But
yeah.
I'm not Islamic.
Okay. Not yet. We're getting there. So
how does that work? I mean, how can he accept one part of his creation, but not accept another part?
let me tell you this. Let's go back to our ship example. You wake up on a ship. You usually wake up in your bed. You don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
If you're the person to ask, all God wants you to do is ask sincerely. Why am I here? How did I get here? And you will get an answer.
So as long as you
If you ask. If there's no one to answer you, then you're not to blame. That's why in the Quran it says, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. We aren't going to punish anyone until they receive a message.
get it. You answered my question. You've answered my question.
Yeah?
Yes. And this is what, when I'm watching you on YouTube, and there's people talking, they're asking the question I want to ask, but not in the way I would ask.
Yes, yes.
And so you're giving them an answer, and I'm screaming, no, that's not what he's asked, that's not what he's asked. You just answered my question.
Thank you, yeah. So do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People that don't know won't be punished.
That's the message I want
Yes,
to get. That's
yes.
what I want to see on YouTube. I want people
Yes.
to see you say Islam is not about punishing you for not believing.
Yes.
It's punishing you for not asking the question.
That's it.
That's what I want people
That's
to see.
it. That was
That's
okay.
what I want people
Does that
to
make
see.
sense now?
Yes, it does make sense.
And when you ask those questions, you get the answers.
Yes.
Then it makes it more clearer.
Yes. And that's what I was saying to you earlier. You know, our government sit there and say, Islam, they're all terrorists, they're bombing us. And that makes people who are not asking the question, they make them afraid. Rather than saying, hey, you're Islamic, fine, I don't care. I'll
Yes.
still be a friend. That's what I want. That's what I want.
That's right.
You answer my question.
Excellent. This is a man that's almost my height. Actually, hold on. He's taller than me. Come here.
He's a good brother. This is a Muslim brother from Germany.
Oh, assalamu alaikum. How tall are you? 2 meters what?
5, 6, 7.
So what are you, 6, 8 or 9? Okay, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Huh? So, ladies and gentlemen, we found him. We found everyone who was looking for someone who is taller than me. All right, I'm 6'6". You're 6'9". Okay, this is what it looks.
Can we see the shoulders?
He's done it, hasn't he? He's done it, man. What's your name, my friend? Christian, I'm sorry. But I'm taller than you, though, a little bit, yeah?
Yeah,
Where's the guy gone, man? Oh, sorry. Sorry, I just had to kind of, just to engage the viewers, you know.
Yes, you
We found him. 2 meters and 5 centimeters. I'm only 199 or something, or 190.
Only.
Now we found it. Okay. So, look.
I see what you're saying.
You see where I'm coming from? Now, what I'm saying is this. It's simple as this. If you become a Muslim, all you're really doing is saying that I believe in the Creator and I believe in following the laws of the Creator. In other words, I want to worship the Creator and I believe this narrative of prophets, ending with Prophet Muhammad. Does that make sense?
Yeah. See, I mean, our conversation, we were saying about, I used to teach Christian Church of England Bible to 5-year-olds.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there, I'm reading a passage out of the Bible to these 5-year-olds, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, That doesn't make no sense.
That's right, yeah.
And so I have to say to my teacher, I can't teach this no more. Because I don't believe it.
Right.
If I don't believe it, I can't teach a 5-year-old.
That's right.
So I put the book down.
Well, that's what made you what troubled you with the Bible?
There was just certain contradictions, you know, it says something here,
Yes.
God is wrathful, and then later on it says God is peaceful.
There's a big disparity between the Old Testament and the New Testament God, basically. Yeah.
And then I do my own research, and when I joined your conversation with the other guy, he was saying, the other guy was saying about how there's something wrong with it, and then, it's King Henry changed the Bible. King George changed the Bible. You look back in history,
Yes.
and the Bible has been changed so many times. Like Hebrew text, they say the devil, he's the most beautiful angel. He's God's favorite angel. But now, today, you look in the Bible and it says the devil is this big, red, evil monster who carries a trident and he tempts you into doing bad things. And it's like,
Exactly, it's a contradiction. All right.
Rubbish.
So here, these are two things.
Now I sit there, and now I sit there and I say, whether God is there or not, be thankful that something created you.
That's good. Now let me tell you something. What you've just elaborated there, very well articulated, are the basic expectations for anybody to accept basically a book to be a word of God. One has got to be preserved. You said it's got to be preserved. There's so many Bibles.
Yeah.
Number one, preservation. Number two, lack of contradiction. And these are the two things that I would challenge anyone. You would never find there's a contradiction in the Quran. And the Quran says, وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ it says in the Quran that أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ لَوْ كَانَ عَنْدُمْ مِنْ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. It says, do they not ponder the Quran with care? And had it been from other than God, they would have found in it many contradictions. So there's no contradiction. Even the word ikhtilaf, in that way, ikhtilafan, is not mentioned in the Quran more than one time. Because if it was there more than one time, people will say, look, it's there many times.
Yeah.
Preservation, there has never been a controversy in the history of Islam on what constitutes the Quran. Never. All Muslims agree to what the Quran is, and they always have agreed on that. So here what I'm saying is, your expectations when it comes to religious scripture are met with the Quran.
Okay. I mean, see, I can't talk about the Quran because
Do you want time to read it and think about it?
it would take me ages to
Not all of it. I'll give you selected passages.
It would give for me, I would have to read it from front to back.
It won't take that long.
A lot of times. I'd need to know it inside and out. If I'm to read a book like that, I have to read it inside and out so that you understand.
What?
And then I would have to sit down with someone like yourself or like you, and I would ask you question after
Perfect.
question.
AJ, do it. I'm going to give you my number. Okay, obviously not on camera.
Yeah.
We'll go over the Quran and stuff like that, and we'll do that. But let me ask you now, as a premise though, do you accept what I've said to you as a narrative, as a premise?
Yes.
So, are you ready to become a Muslim?
No.
No. All right. You want to read first?
Yeah, I would read anything.
Fine.
But for me, choosing a religion is not an option for me. My religion is me. I'm
Fine.
my religion.
Yeah.
My religion says, be good to
Fellow man.
everyone.
Okay, perfect.
Everyone.
Maybe you'll change your mind when you read the Quran.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll give you my number.
But I mean, there's no reason why I cannot respect
Yes.
the Quran and respect religion in general.
And I'm finding it impossible not to respect you. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, man.
Great to meet you at
Yeah, man.
last. At last.
It's been great to talk to you, man.